Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Police Commissioner orders probe after Lockup Escape lockup. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson has ordered an immediate probe into the circumstances surrounding the escape of accused murderer Rodolph Boxer Shaw from the Kingston Central Police lockup. The Inspectorate and Professional Standard Oversight Bureau is leading the investigation. The police say preliminary investigations have revealed that Mr. Shaw was discovered missing from his cell about 6:30 Thursday morning during inspections. It was discovered that an air vent leading to his cell has been cut. The 30-year-old had been in police custody since July 27 after being nabbed in the Cayman Islands and deported to Jamaica. Members of the public are being advised that Mr. Shaw is considered dangerous. He was a person of interest in several shootings and murders across St. Catherine and was also listed as wanted in both divisions of the parish. The police are urging persons to immediately notify them if Mr. Shaw is seen and to be mindful that it is an offense to harbor a fugitive. King's Counsel Peter Champagne has questioned security arrangements at the Kingston Central Police lockup after Mr. Shaw's escaped custody overnight. Mr. Champagne, who represented Mr. Shaw on Wednesday in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court, said he thought adequate security measures would have been in place for his client, considering he had only recently been apprehended in Cayman and brought back to Jamaica. Insisting that his client's escape has come as a complete shock, the attorney added that he is looking forward to intense investigation into the matter. He further suggested he would no longer represent Mr. Shaw, noting that he does not countenance this kind of action on the part of any client, and his practice has always been to advise the person seeks alternative or different representation going forward. The attorney said someone should be held accountable for the escape, as a repeat cannot be allowed to occur. He added that there is need for a review of the security measures at the lockup. Mr. Shaw is accused of murdering 59-year-old Winfred Strait O'Connor and Clinton Wani Davis 60, both of St. John's Road addresses in St. Catherine. He was scheduled to reappear in court on November 17.
No, I have not heard from him. And may I say that I am surprised that this has happened, given the history with Mr. Shaw, in light of the fact that he fled the island before, was apprehended in the Cayman Islands and brought back here. I suspect, and I would encourage, the highest level of police investigation into this matter. And insofar as I am concerned and representation goes for Mr. Shaw, my practice is that once something like this happens, especially in the circumstances where it's a second kind of situation, my practice is not to offer any representation going forward. And once a client violates the sanctity of the court, either by not turning up when he's on bail or either deliberately taking himself out of custody, that representation in that regard must be revisited unless there is some reasonable excuse, and I can't fathom any excuses on this occasion. It is not to be supported in any way. It is wrong, and I am at a loss as to why this would happen, because I do believe that, notwithstanding the number of charges that were against Mr. Shaw, there was a good case for him in terms of viability and success.
Several illegal structures destroyed in a section of Bernard Lodge. Several illegal structures on the so-called captured land adjacent to the Clifton community in Bernard Lodge, St. Catherine, were demolished on Thursday at the start of a removal exercise by the government. This in the wake of reports that criminals pretending to be landowners sold lots to some unsuspecting citizens. In light of the link to criminals, police and soldiers were deployed to the area to ensure the safety of workmen. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has stated that legislative property owner SCJ Holding has issued cease desist notices. Yesterday's demolition focused on unfinished buildings. Other buildings that have been completed and are occupied will be taken down at a later stage following discussions with the residents. However, some residents claim that they were unaware of the exercise and had lamented that they had already spent thousands of dollars building their homes. These residents reportedly had no official title to the property, only receipt they got from the alleged seller. Member of Parliament for St. Catherine South Jackson visited the site and spoke with some residents who expressed concern about their homes being demolished and showed him documentation indicating their right to occupy.
I'm aware that persons have seized lands belonging to SCJ and have been illegally selling them. SCJ told me that they have this challenge and they are engaging. Truth of the matter, it has taken quite a long time. Because as you know, as MP we make representation and the agencies of the state is the one who act. Like this morning I was told that some of the persons slated for demolition are in possession of letters of possession. What I've been told by SCJ is that outside of the areas being formalized, there are persons who have seized SCJ lands and have been selling them, and persons subsequently have been building on them. That, of course, that kind of activity is not anything that I would condone. Persons who approach me and say that they have bought lands, and one and two persons, I ask them from whom, they can't tell me or are afraid to tell me who they paid money to. That I have no control over. And SCJ would have to deal with those persons.
Police quick action prevents attempted murder of woman in Spanish Town. Quick action by the police on Thursday afternoon prevented the attempted murder of a woman by a gunman in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Reporters were informed that the suspects were captured and a firearm seized. The drama unfolded on the compound of Friendship Primary School, however, no student was harmed. It's reported that the woman drove onto the campus of the school after suspecting that her vehicle was being trailed. The vehicle with the men aboard followed her into the schoolyard. The woman reportedly managed to alert the St. Catharines North Police. A quick response team rushed to her assistance and captured the suspects at the school. Senior Superintendent Howard Chambers, head of the St. Catherine North Police, confirmed the incident. However, he told reporters that Deputy Commissioner in charge of crime Fitzbailey will speak further on the matter.
3 men were held by the police at a primary school in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, and 2 firearms recovered. The action of the police was to avert the murder of a male who was marked for death by men aligned to the Tesha Miller faction of the Klansman gang. One of the men that was held was arrested about 2 to 3 years ago in Clarendon in relation to a double murder and is out on bail. They were not concerned about the psychological impact on the student that their action would have created. The JCF has been very consistent in saying that the type of crimes that we are seeing are not ordinary. And when we have extraordinary situation, there's a need for extraordinary response. These type of crime cannot be seen as the normal routine criminal activities that are being perpetrated by criminals. This is organized crime. And I want to issue a warning to those criminal elements who are willing to create problem in our society. The JCF men and women are well trained. And if when you are called upon to surrender, you refuse to surrender and you challenge our officers, we will and they will use their superior training to repel any threat that they are faced with.
Clark announces biggest build-out of tax offices. Jamaica will see an improved in customer service and infrastructure at Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ offices island-wide over the next 3 years, Minister of Finance and Public Servant Dr. Nigel Clark announced on Wednesday. Clark, who was addressing the Tax Audit and Revenue Administration Postgraduate Diploma Program graduation and award ceremony, stressed the need for upgrading the services at TAJ. The period of chronic instability in Jamaica, experienced for a long time, interrupted overdevelopment. The space of the build-out of Jamaica didn't keep abreast with our aspirations and with our needs, he said at the ceremony held at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in New Kingston. When it comes to tax offices, that is even more acute that the tax offices that were built across Jamaica were built at a time when the needs were different, and as such, in many parts, we have tax offices that cannot accommodate the public, he said. Clark pointed out that open space and parking slots, especially at rural offices, are inadequate. We're saying to them that we are going to engage in the biggest build-out of tax offices over the next several years than we have had in Jamaica's history. I can't do it on my own, but I think with policy support, technical work has to be done by TAJ, the procurement work, drawings, all of the details TAJ has to do. Get it through the processes and will make the budgetary space, he explained. According to Clark, the government is already far down the wicket with a new tax office at Crossroads in St. Andrew, which will be approximately 5 stories and will have a smarter drive-through system. We want Jamaicans to have a healthy attitude and a healthy relationship with government and see government as working for them. We have to improve the interaction with the tax office, and the first way of doing this is to upgrade the physical environment, he said. In September, reporters highlighted the temporary closure of the Crossroads tax office in St. Andrew due to indoor air quality issues. The matter led to chaos at the downtown Kingston branch as displaced customers used the location to complete transactions. At the ceremony Wednesday, Clark also noted that the TAJ's online platform will be restructured to be more user-friendly. The truth is, the tax office has done a great job in that 80% of tax types can be paid online. Yet, every month end, the tax offices are overcrowded. There is a message in that. If 80% of taxes can be paid online and people still come into the office to pay it, it must be that people are not perceiving it as easy enough or simple enough, or they don't understand exactly how to do it, he said. In the meantime, Paul Layla, Board Chairman, Tax Administration Jamaica, told reporters that he is in support of government's commitment to improve the TAJ services. The minister has demanded of us that we put together a program and we're able to show the Jamaica public that we plan to do so, how we plan to build out them, and the functionality of the new buildings will look like, how we plan to incorporate the new virtual kiosks, drive-through. We have a lot of work ahead of us to put together these state-of-the-art tax offices across the country. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell.